Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are back with Charleston Reiki and Tarot, and of course, our dear friend, Dr. Laura Griffith Garland, joining us here once again, live with us on the podcast and also here on Zoom. Hello, how are you, darling?
I'm a little fuzzy today and I sound funny.
You do. You sound a little sick. Under the weather?
If anybody saw last week's podcast, my husband had an exposure with COVID.
Yeah.
He was alone with a client in a room. He's a counselor for 52 minutes. And she hadn't told us that she had been out doing questionably things. The next day she texted us and said that she had COVID. So we went and got our tests, and my husband was positive when his came back. Mine was negative from a test on Wednesday. Mine was negative on Thursday. Mine was negative on Friday. Mine was negative on Saturday. Sunday morning, I woke up and I had drainage in my throat, and we had finally gotten in the mail the home test.
The home test, yes, that the government gave out. Yes,
yeah, they finally arrived in the mail actually Saturday afternoon. I don't know what I had ordered them. I don't know when, but then they arrived, and so Sunday morning at 2 a.m. I go out and I'm like, God, well, I guess I better take one of these tests. So I did, and I popped positive. And so, I mean,
how are you? I mean, you don't sound well.
Tired.
You're not well, but do you mind explaining? Because this is a big part of, we've been talking about COVID for months
2 years.
now, and 2 years literally. Yes, just us in particular, and how it affects people. And I know it's different for everyone, but first and foremost,
different.
Okay. Yeah. Is your husband okay as well? I mean, you're here to do the show, but I'm not sure how well you're going to be. So at any time you're not feeling well, just let me know. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can always end early.
Yeah. He mostly had a cough, like a dry cough. And then it just kept coughing. His throat was sore. He had a wicked headache. But he said his headache was in the back. He canceled some clients, worked through some, like the morning was better than the afternoon. And he's working this weekend doing pretty well. But mine has gone into my nose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is really interesting because anytime he gets a cold, he gets cough. And anytime in our 20 plus years of marriage, when I get a cold, mine goes into my nose. Wow. It seems to be whatever your pattern is where this goes. We've been told that it's because they tested it apparently, and it was the B2 Omicron BA2 variety or whatever is the newer version that's going through. Don't ask. It's that one that's taking over.
Okay.
We're both fully vaxxed and boosted.
Yep.
But it's been a rough 2 years for us. And is
this your first time having it, by the way?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Neither of us have ever had it. We had thought we would make it through.
Yeah.
It out because of course this weekend they just said any people over 50 can get their fourth dose.
And Mr. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. No. Nope.
Oh gosh.
We didn't quite make it to the fourth dose.
All right.
So yesterday I literally went through a box of tissues. Like in 24 hours, I went through a box of tissues. I'm doing a lot better now. I just sound bad now.
Yeah.
My energy.
Do you have your taste, by the way? A lot of people. Yeah, I lost my taste too. I've had it. Okay.
Yeah, I other than like normally just a dulling when you have a nose cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can still taste, but I'm like, that needs more salt, sort of thing, or something like that. Because my husband made soup last night, and I was like, "Did you put any salt in this, honey?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like,
"Oh gosh, I don't taste it." Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's I can't imagine how bad I would feel if I hadn't had my vaccines and boosters.
Very good point. Very good point.
I really because I reacted fairly strongly to the second vaccine and to the booster. So I can't imagine how I would be reacting to this if I hadn't had that. I'm pretty sure it would be more than just, what is this, 72 hours essentially.
Wow.
It was through this since I tested positive. Because I didn't, like I said, I actually was going to our local pharmacy and testing. I tested Saturday afternoon and I tested negative, but by Sunday at 2 a.m. I had tested positive.
Oh.
So it's been very enlightening. And now I'm thinking, and they're saying if you have the Omicron variant that it doesn't have the same organ problem that a lot of the others have, which thank goodness.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. The original wild variant and the British variant and the Delta variant were supposed to be not, they disrupted multiple organ systems, brain, heart, liver, lungs. They're saying that the Omicron is not quite as bad as that. It's way more easily caught, but not as bad on your organ systems. So that's nice to know. But it's my husband was not happy when he got the diagnosis, because he's like, we were so careful for so long.
Oh my gosh. And here it's like the end of the stretch in a sense. Yeah. It really is. It's like,
did you have it in December?
I had it in, no, not in December. I had it, my son had it last February. So February 2021, and I never got it.
Right.
But over the summer, my niece got it. We all went to Florida. Next thing you know, we're in Disney. Everyone's coughing, sneezing, just felt like a cold. I'm boosted. I'm vaccinated, and like 3 out of 6 of us got it.
Yeah.
But it was just, it felt like a cold. And thankfully, no, I thought I had it a few months ago. I was so sick for so long. No, the test came back as a coronavirus, but meaning a cold. And it's one of them that she says you're going to have for like 2 months. I had an ear infection, but I swore, I'm like, this must be the real COVID. Like, I mean, not that I didn't have the real COVID before, but it wasn't. But I mean, and my son had it again, but we had no idea he had it. If we weren't going on that cruise, we just tested him randomly because we all had to be tested. We were fine. And next thing you know, they said he's positive, the PCR. Antigen was negative. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, that means you must have had it the past few weeks. We're still going on the plane. Can't go on the cruise. Let's go to Florida, enjoy the time. And we did, except I got sick afterwards. But you poor thing. I mean, have you still been seeing clients? Are you able to, or are you really taking it easy? You look good. You're like, I'm putting on a smile. Yeah, I get it.
Makeup is a wonder. I got on more color than I normally do. Just because I was so pale this morning. Yesterday I didn't have any clients scheduled because Tuesdays are Monday, and I also have class. So I have class for 2.5 hours in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I have to do all the work for Tuesday being our Monday. So I've tried never to schedule clients on Tuesday. So I haven't missed any clients. Thank goodness.
Such a trooper. Yeah.
But it's just, it's like I said, if I hadn't had the vaccine, I would have been worried about this.
Yeah.
Because I am over 50. I don't have any underlying other conditions, but still, you know, I mean, it's other than actually menopause, which messes with your hormones and is a tiny bit of an underlying condition when it comes to stuff like this, because it does mess with your systems a bit. And I don't get as much sleep as I normally would have. So it's been interesting. And I sound worse than I am today.
Yeah.
Yesterday was just like my nose was a faucet and there was nothing I could do about it. I tried some cold meds. It did nothing. Nothing. So, you gotta, this is a case where you got to keep a positive attitude, because that's what's going to up your immune system. Getting upset about this, will decrease your immune system right away and then prolong however long this thing is going to take to get through. So you always want to think when you're in any of these situations, what's going to boost my immune system so that it kicks through this, and what's not going to boost my immune system. A lot of people, oh dear, excuse me.
Take your time. Boy knows whatever you got to do. It's okay.
Haven't done a lot of talking this morning, so
take a sip.
There we go. So you want to, a lot of people when they get in a situation like this will do a WTF and go grab some comfort food that is not good for their immune system.
True.
So it's so you got to think about that. So like that's one of the reasons my husband made soup. Last week I made soup for him. So
take your time. Take your time. All right. Well, look. No, you've been on our show for, my goodness, quite a few months. And we always have a great conversation about all the things to do to help people. Normally she just turns before the show to her cards, right? She does tarot card readings as well and kind of pulls a card and figures out what it's meant to be, or just her own intuition guides us throughout the show. So I understand today she's not on her best, so I'm so sorry that you're not feeling well. In the meantime, though, let me just, if you don't mind, point out your website. We could do that. Is that okay? CharlestonTarotandReiki.com, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. There. Just triple checking. And also we can talk a little bit about the work you do, because you're not just a Reiki master, it's a shamanic Reiki master. So she really can help people with her energy healing. And I'm going to ask her something. I don't know if you can respond if you're not feeling good, but are you able to do any Reiki on yourself in the condition you're in? Is that something you've been focusing on trying to do? You can say yes or no. I don't want you to overspeak.
I have been. And it does help. Personally, you can feel it yourself. It is, it's much easier to work on someone else.
Yeah. For sure. Or maybe it's time where you call one of your friends in the business to work on you and guide you and help you, because you need a little of that for sure. Husband, he's okay right now. So he's back to seeing clients. Is his COVID over, or he's just doing virtual sessions at this point?
He's still doing virtual.
He's probably test negative at this point, right? Because you got it so many days later, or he hasn't retested. Good question.
No, he tested yesterday afternoon and still tested positive.
Okay.
So we haven't gone back in person, which is why the background is different. So we're at home.
Good. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. Okay. That was just a different location.
Yeah. And so he's feeling fine, although he said he had a bit of a headache today, but pollen's back up again.
That's true. The allergies. I know you were away a few weeks ago. Yeah. And it's so funny because you've been talking for so long, all of us have been, about the stress from this pandemic and the woo-woo of people, doing what you do, thinking energy healing can help. I mean, she does past life retrievals, soul retrievals as well. Shamanic healing. I can't even tell you all the things she does because there's so many. I can look down and read my notes. But I do. Let's see. Hold on. Shamanic healing. I said that. Meditation. And also she works as a holistic inspiration coach. So here she is on her own healing journey. We're going to, wish her well, obviously. And I know it sucks when you're in it, when you're not feeling well. And I do appreciate you still coming here on the show and doing your best to help us. And for those out there who think you're never going to get COVID, think again. It could happen to you no matter how careful you are. I had a girlfriend who was double masking. She started working from home. She was so sad and feeling so good because she's been boasting and bragging she never got COVID. Well, guess what? Last month she got it and she's fully vaccinated for everything, but she got it bad. She's like, what? And I'm like, unfortunately, it's part of life. It's just something we all can't run from. We think we're invincible, but then you get it. And it's like, oh, wow. And it's like, how? But yeah, these things called germs that transfer when we speak, when we talk, coming out of our mouth. But I'm so happy that you're here. You're okay. A lot of people, unfortunately, aren't okay, and they're in the hospital. Some have lost their lives.
Yeah.
And, thank God it's 2022, not 2020, because nobody knew how to treat any of this. And people were, and unfortunately, the amount of life that was lost, it was just so tragic. And we didn't have the medical capabilities to handle it in the hospital. So,
and you were in ground zero in 2020.
Yeah.
Up there in New York.
Yeah.
Really, we didn't know what to do. And now we do. And so it's and the version is different.
Yeah. But I'll say the positive about it is that you have it. It's going to give you a different antibody, which you're going to need to survive the next few months. And of course, then we can get our shots again eventually, but all in due time, really.
Yeah. They're like, if you have the Omicron variant, they're like, you've got really great immunity. So I'm like, oh, goody.
All right, good. So I'll feel a little crappy for a week or so and get through it. But I'm so glad you're still here with us. I know it's difficult for you to speak. Is there something that maybe you've been alone a lot, right? In pain, suffering, sick. Has your mind thought about anything else, and any intuitive thoughts, anything creative about life in general, about the pandemic that you want to share, that you can share if you're not too out of breath?
It's really just that it's making my throat tickly.
Itchy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did pull my cards this morning, and they talked about the difference between earthly pursuits, is what it's called, and spiritual pursuits. And then the mediator was intuition. And so I was sitting here trying to think what the heck that meant, being a little fuzzy. So not quite as in tune with my intuition as usual, because a little fuzzy. And I realized that really that is exactly what life is about right now. We have our earthly pursuits. We want to come out of the pandemic. We want to go do things. We want to have fun. We're tired of being alone and isolated, and not being able to do what we want to do. Wow. And our client, she chose the earthly pursuits without a mask. Mm-hmm. In an area, in a zone where the infection rate was still a little bit higher. And then there's quote unquote spiritual pursuits, and that would be, more of our alone time. So I was thinking about that. That's our meditation and our turning inward and our seeking the divine, and we have to balance those two right now. We have to balance the wanting to go out and what is available and what is okay. And we have to balance that with staying in and looking inward and growth inward, so that when we do come out of this completely, we can blossom. And I'm hoping that that's where we're going with this, is we're going to be able to balance ourselves much more than we used to. Mm-hmm. We used to be very bimodal. Either you were working on the fun, or you were someone who was pursuing spiritual stuff. Yeah. And we didn't have a lot of people weren't doing both, I would say, weren't being present here in the now on the earth. Yeah. And yet at the same time, going inward and connecting to whatever you call divine, and feeling that connection, because that connection to divine is our intuition. That's where our intuition comes from. Everybody has intuition, yet you just have to listen. And that's really tough. I have to tell you that's really tough, by the way, when you're sneezing your head off. Yeah.
I'm sure.
That's what I was doing yesterday. Sneezing my head off. And I don't know how much was actually COVID and how much was the bloody pollen that we have outside. So, yeah. Because we got another huge dose. Yesterday I checked the Weather Channel, and it was it was pegged in like not just red, but like maroon or something like that. So I was like, great, which is who is what. But it's, it really is being able to balance our needs, our wants, and being able to remain in a mode where we are connected to the divine, whatever you call that. I'm not going to label it. It's what you call it. And our intuition is the mediator there. Should we go out and do whatever? Really connect into your intuition and listen to that and see whether it's okay to go out and do whatever the pursuits are. Because in a lot of the country, the overall numbers have gone way back down, but in some places they're rising again. So you got to watch that. You got to think about whether or not you are vaxxed, whether or not you have had this before, whether or not what your immunity level is, how you're been treating your body recently.
Yeah.
Have you had a bunch of alcohol recently? Because alcohol depresses your immune system. Have you been having a whole bunch of sugar recently? Sugar depresses your immune system. Have you been really stressed out recently? If you answer no, I'm going to actually wonder if you should be referred to my husband.
Great.
because this is the last 2 years have been stressful.
Yeah, for sure.
It has hit everyone's immune system. And that's part of why, we all are, the breakthrough cases come through because we've been stressed and the virus changes itself and changes itself and changes itself. And so, while the vaccines are quite effective in keeping you out of the hospital and definitely keep you alive, like really, really good about that bit. That against Omicron, you get a cold. So you get a cold. And it has been stressful for everyone. That really does depress your immune system. Have you been sleeping well?
Yeah.
Sleep is the key to your immune system. I have menopause right now. I don't sleep very well at night. I got that for my 49th birthday. That was my present for that. Yay. Why there's no off switch, I don't understand. But anyways, so I don't sleep well at night right now. So that, that and the hormone fluctuations plays with my immune system. Sure it does. My husband's a mental health counselor. He sees 35, 37 people a week who've been having a really tough time. And he cares so much. Yeah, that affects his immune system. Yeah. So, and just, life has been stressful. It's just been stressful for 2 years, at least. A lot of people will tell you it's been a bit stressful for longer than 2 years. We had a ramp up before that for a lot of people on things because if you'll recall, we were going through the primaries for the 2020 election. And there was a huge ramp up of angst. That seems so long ago, a whole lifetime. But there were a lot of people and a lot of angst when this hit. And it just keeps rolling, So anytime something like this happens, don't go into the blame, don't go into the depression, don't go into any of those negative emotions. You want to elevate, get your connection to the divine going as much as you can to raise your energy so that your immune system does function better. Like I said, I sound bad today. My energy is way better. Yesterday was the one day that I really didn't feel very well. Today, I just sound terrible in it. I hadn't talked a lot this morning, so I had the little coughing fit there as I cleared my throat. Okay. And so, it's about that balance. What does your intuition say about going out, opening up, and doing things What's the divine giving you? How are you connecting to that?
Mhm.
Are you allowing that through so that you get the message about what to do with that? We didn't go out, quote unquote, and do anything with this. This was my husband doing his job. Um, and a client not telling us that they had gone out and done things. They had gone to a live music event with 300 of their not quite friends screaming and yelling in a
And
very
even
small
did she come in the office with a mask? Just curious.
No.
Oh gosh. Okay.
No.
Mm.
And
Not required anymore, right? But I get
it wasn't required.
But knowing that you're with so many people, it's okay. Yeah, I get it.
We had a policy that, if you thought you had any chance of being exposed, please just wear your mask. No. So, but at the same time, this now gives my husband and I the immunity, and we're no longer going, oh my God, when are we going to get it? When are we going to get it? When are we going to get it? Which is, been in the back of most people who haven't gotten it yet, their head, when am I going to get this thing? Because it's at some point, something's going to come up.
Yeah.
And like your friend who was double masking and being super careful, at some point, she got exposed to the airborne particles somehow, some way, through someone or being in a place where someone had been, if it hung in the air for a while. If the air's super dry, the particles hang in the air for longer. If it's humid, the particles settle down faster and you don't have as much worry. But, in the north, you guys, it's dry a lot of the year.
Yep,
us in the south, it's humid a lot of the year. But then, in the summer, we're inside all summer because it's so nasty a lot outside. And so we have air conditioning on, which dries the air. So, but you just use your intuition, open up to that, to see where we can blossom, where we can go from here. And again, think about your immune system. Please, everybody, think about your immune system. Alcohol, not good for your immune system. Sugar, not good for your immune system. Lack of sleep, not good for your immune system. Stress, not good for your immune system. But don't stress about having all of these other things. Right? Then you get yourself in a catch-22. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. That's our world right now.
Well, I hope you feel better soon. Dr. Garland, could you tell us how we can reach out to you?
Sure. You can direct email at drlaura.coach. That's drlaura.coach@gmail.com, or phone 843-259-8349. And that's our main office number for Charleston Holistic Center, which is our overarching business. So.
Oh, sweetheart. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us. As sick as you are, I'm wishing you and your husband good health and get a lot of rest, drink a lot of fluids. And thank you for still doing the show. She's such a trooper. Really, you are. Thank you. Have a great day, sweetheart, and feel better. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home. that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.